All right, so a couple of days ago, I sat down with John from Hot Take Hockey. Now, if you don't know who that is, John runs a YouTube channel which is purely hockey based. He's a Leaf fan, but he does a lot of just general hockey stuff. Really, one of the best hockey channels you'll find out there. He covers the full NHL. He does live streams for the whole game. He'll do running commentary throughout the whole game. I don't think that that's something my voice would allow me to do. So the fact that he can do that, I'm definitely in awe. And he's helped me out a ton. He helped me out by coming on and doing this today. But he's also helped me out in the past, as I mentioned in the video. So sat down with him for a few minutes to talk some Panthers and a little bit of hockey. So here it is. All right, guys. So I got John from Hot Take Hockey here. Much appreciation for you coming out, bud. I really appreciate it. I know it's going to be a grind, man. So I wanted to get to you before the season started. How you doing?
I'm good, thank you. And yeah, it's gonna be busy. I'm sure with your channel and with mine, it's gonna be busy times. But I really appreciate you having me on, and it's refreshing to talk some Panthers because, of course, sometimes it's hard to find Panthers fans online sometimes. But I know I found your channel, and it's good to pop in here and there.
Yeah, and I appreciate that. And I'll say that real quick. I was going to say this for the end, but I wanted to thank you personally. Because I was when this is my 6th year I'm starting, and it took me that long to get to 1,000 subscribers, and I didn't get there. You brought me over the finish line. I was in the middle of a live stream, and you brought your whole crew with you and added 56 subscribers to me, and boom, that brought me over the 1,000 mark. So thank you, because I was crawling to the finish line, man. It was going, and then boom, you showed up, and I didn't even know, and everything was there, and there was over 1,000. So thanks.
Trust me, I know it can be a grind, and sometimes YouTube doesn't do any favors. So
no, that's for sure. All right, so I wanted to get your thoughts. We'll talk about last night at the end here, but in terms of the Panthers for the season, now for me, I've got Eastern Conference Finals. That's my mark. Now, surprisingly for me, when I've been watching other people's previews, there's a lot of people picking us to win the cup, and I'm like, can we win a round first? So give me your take.
Yeah. So funny enough, personally, I just released kind of my way too early, cup pick, playoff picks. And I do have the Panthers going to the conference finals. Right. Obviously it depends on who they play in the first round. I think specifically with Tampa, I think it would be a really close series. With the Lightning, their identity line was the Gaudreau, Yanni Gourde, and Coleman line. And I think that line definitely got to Florida. But I think now without that line, Florida matches up against them much better. Right. And I think if Spencer Knight can be the guy, I mean, who knows? I think they could even beat Tampa in a series. But I think right now, looking at the Atlantic Division, just based on the rosters, just based on what I've seen, I think Florida can match up against any team in that Atlantic Division right now. So that's kind of my mindset on. I think they should be able to win a round. I know I'm a Leaf fan, so I know about the struggle about not getting past that first round. Trust me. But I think at least just put that aside, just the take right now with the teams. They're good enough to win a round. They should win even potentially 2 rounds.
Right, so. Right. Yeah, now you mentioned it, and so I'm curious to get I always like to get an outsider's point of view because for Panther fans, we're so focused on it. What do you got for Bobrovsky versus Spencer Knight? Where are you on that?
Yeah, I think a lot of people have different opinions on that. I think even I asked some of my subscribers, and you have some people going, okay, you cannot push Spencer Knight over 30 games. Like, this is a rookie. You cannot push a young goalie like this. And then you have the other subscribers going, Bobrovsky sucks. Spencer Knight needs to take the reins. He needs to play it all. But I just think personally, you just ride the hot hand. I mean, you don't overthink it. I think with a goalie like Spencer Knight, it's not like he's playing for the Buffalo Sabres here or the Arizona Coyotes. He is playing for the Florida Panthers, what should be a good playoff team and should be a good team in the season. So if the Florida Panthers are winning, that's good for Spencer Knight's development. He is getting confidence. He is winning games. Like, if he's good enough, why put him in the AHL, or why not play him? Right. And just, if he's going to play and get confidence and win games, let him win games. If it goes maybe a couple games and it's looking rough, you put the veteran in. And I think Bobrovsky, people obviously crap, but I'm sure a lot of Panthers fans, it's frustrating. It's definitely frustrating at the point of the contract. But I mean, in my eyes, I think that's kind of where the perspective is. It's okay. This $10 million goalie is not playing as a $10 million goalie. He's probably playing at a $3 million or $4 million goalie, right?
Right.
So I think that's the perspective of, okay, Bobrovsky could probably handle, I would say, at least 40 games for a good team. So at the very least, I would expect Spencer Knight to play at least 40 games.
Right.
So that's kind of where my mindset's at.
Yeah, that's kind of, I mean, when I read an article before the season started and it was about Spencer Knight, it was on NHL.com. And I had to go back and check to see if I wasn't crazy, because the article says Spencer Knight says the open competition between him and Bob will be, he will be good for him. And then like the first day of camp, Q said that, well, Bobrovsky's going to get the workload. So we don't really know what's going on there. And now Spencer Knight's getting the 2 starts as opposed to 1 for Bob, because his wife is having the baby, which that's another subject. Congratulations to him. I got to get a baby Bob puppet now. But, and then it comes into play where, and this was something I was going to ask you about, because you mentioned Bobrovsky's contract, and there's only so long we can pay him that much money without it having an effect down the lineup. And so that brings me to Barkov, which everybody, there's a thing on, Panthers Twitter, we're getting a little bit nervous. You know what I mean? And I saw an article come out today where the number that they were projecting was 11.6. How does that sound to you? And what kind of effect do you think a number like that's going to have down the line with Huberdeau, because he's next?
Yeah, I mean, well, the perspective is, and I guess I don't want to make this sting for Panthers fans, but yeah, Barkov and Huberdeau have been on really good deals, and they probably should have taken advantage of that sooner. But I will say this, the Panthers have recently developed some really good prospects. I mean, whether you look at like a guy like Dennis Sanko, who's going to be coming up and he's going to look gross, and you have Anton Lundell, who's going to be so good. So you have those guys coming up, and then you have now your core. You have Barkov, you have Huberdeau. I think Tippett's going to be, funny enough, I actually played against Tippett a few times when I was younger. So it's kind of funny. Buddy was a massive shit disturber, 100%. So he's carrying that into the NHL. And I think, he scored, I mean, we'll talk about it. He scored 2 goals last night in the preseason game. So even that guy, I think, give him a top 6 role. And then, you have so many options: Bennett, Duclair, now Sam Reinhart. So onto the contract part. Yeah, it's going to be tough. But I think if you can have a conversation with Barkov and go, here's how it is. You're our franchise guy. Huberdeau is kind of our other franchise guy, and we want to get you both in around the same. I mean, Barkov's the leader. He's more of the face, so maybe he makes slightly more than Huberdeau. But if they can get both guys in around 9 to 10 or 9 to 10.5, so maybe Barkov closer to that 10, Huberdeau maybe comparable to what, I mean, you just see Braden Point and Kucherov get those contracts in Tampa just under 10. So if you can get both those guys for under 20 million or just slightly under 10, slightly under 20 for both.
Right.
That's,
for both.
That's a W. But again, obviously Barkov knows what he's worth, and he looks around the big boys in the league. But obviously, the positive side is there's not too many comparables at 11.6 right now. The only guys that are at that number are Matthews, Panarin, and obviously McDavid's at 12.5. So outside of that, there's not too many names there. So the Panthers have a little bit of an advantage in that sense.
Right. Yeah, no, that makes sense. And that's something that's just going to play out over this year. I mean, they were hoping to get it done before opening day. TikTok is all I can say there. So now let's move on to last night. I watched the first period. The first period was pretty uneventful. And then all of a sudden, Sam Bennett decides, I think I'm just going to give Andrei Vasilevsky a shoulder here in preseason. And I mean, they just turned the fire hoses on, and I've never seen anything like that in a preseason game.
No.
And the thing for me is,
actually, I'll say I've seen it once, but continue. Buffalo, Toronto, when the goalie spot, but that was the only other time.
Is that right? Is that right? Yeah. Okay.
But continue.
So sorry. No, that's okay. The thing for me is now I looked at that, and my reaction during my recap was I want nothing to do with the Florida Panthers Tampa Bay Lightning playoff series. Not because I don't think we can win, but because I don't know if there'd be anybody left alive by the end of the series, if this is what we're going to do during the preseason. So just give me your take on it. What were your thoughts when you saw it from afar?
Well, I will say, if anyone was questioning if that playoff series would carry over to the following year, well, there's your answer. And I think Yeah, I mean, the fact that it was at that level in a preseason game, what's it going to be like in the season, and what's it going to be like if there's another playoff round with these two teams? So, I think, I mean, I kind of use the word like shit disturber. Like these guys, both teams, they have a bunch of them, right? I mean, you look at Tampa, you have, I mean, even a guy like Sergachev, who's really like, he's a really skilled defenseman, but he ain't afraid. You saw in the playoff series, you saw it last night,
Right.
And obviously now they have Corey Perry. They don't have like a Yanni Gordon anymore, but they have a couple of those guys. They have Patty Maroon. So they have guys that are not afraid to do that. And now Zach Bogosian, you saw that fight last night with Mason Marchment. And then obviously I think Florida, even more so, Florida's got Marchment, Gudis, Bennett, Tippett, like go down the list. So I think just more so it's the Battle of Florida, and it's the fact that these are the two teams like that. But kind of similar to what we saw with the Battle of Alberta, once you have a few of those guys like that and you have the skill up front, the games are fast, the games are competitive. And then you also have the shit disturbers in the lineup that, they'll run into goalies. They'll have a controversial hit here and there. But, man, I will say it's definitely becoming one of the most, if not most, entertaining rivalry in this league. So I'm excited to watch it.
Yeah, it's a shame. I saw it before I came on here. Somebody was making the comment that we don't have any. There's no national televised Panthers Lightning games, and I'm surprised that didn't change after last season. But boy, now the teams are so much more evenly matched. Now that we have Ekblad back, and like you said, with the Lightning having lost a few players. But so last thing before I let you go. I forgive me for not remembering. No, I do remember. I watched when you were picking the divisions, your video when you were picking the divisions, and I made a comment because you had us pick third in the division, but then you said the possibility exists that Florida could be one of the teams that didn't quite make it. Which I can understand that. So now the thing for me is I've been saying the only thing I think that can slow this team down is injuries. And Atari got hurt last night. And for anybody who's been paying attention, every day somebody at camp or in one of the games have been getting a little ding here, a little ding there, a little ding here. In your experience, being a longtime hockey fan, what team can you remember who really got taken down by injuries in most recent memory? A team that you looked at and you thought this team has to make it, and then injuries really kind of came in and threw them for a loop.
Yeah, I mean, tough question. I think I can't really say there's a specific team that's had like many injuries, but if you look over the last like 10 years, there's always been a team,
right,
every year, every couple of years that have that massive. I mean, people are probably gonna give me shit for bringing this up, but obviously last year with Toronto losing Tavares and Jake Muzzin, like those are two significant injuries.
Yeah.
I would even go back as far as 2014. I mean, people would argue Montreal was going to win the cup, but then Carey Price goes down with the injury against the Rangers, and the backup has to come in, and then they lose. Yeah. So it's.
And the Panthers with Ekblad last year too. Sorry, but
the Panthers. That one was in the season, and they still did really well the rest of the season. But obviously, who knows if Ekblad's not Tampa series? Right. Maybe it makes the difference. I mean, people don't want to talk about that, but like Ekblad, Tavares, Price, like whatever you want to talk about. Obviously, people just look at who ends up winning. Like no one's gonna a year from then, 2 years from then, no one's gonna talk about that. But no, it's a good point. I think with Florida specifically, the reason why I'll just kind of make my point and why I was saying I think it's so tough that I think it's a toss up between like Florida, Toronto. Like I think Tampa might not finish first in the division, but I would imagine with their skill set and how deep they are, they're gonna make the playoffs. Right. So for me, it's between Boston, Toronto, and Florida. If Metro teams fill up those wild card spots, then one of those three really good teams in the Atlantic are going to miss. Right. No, that's true. Potentially. Potentially. So I think for me, the massive question mark with all three, with Florida, Toronto, and Boston is goaltending. I think that's the massive thing. Toronto lost Freddie Anderson, and Campbell was good last year, but who knows? And Mrazek comes in. Now Florida, Bobrovsky, he hasn't been good, and you're maybe putting faith in a rookie goalie. And then Boston, no Rask. They have Allmark and Swayman right now. So that's why for me, I was like, okay, I have confidence in Boston. I have confidence in Florida. If Florida makes it, I think they could go on a run based on how they're built.
Right.
I've always said that. I said sometimes look at Montreal, right? They just squeaked in, but because of how they're built, they went on a run. And I said that to people. I said, don't be surprised, because my prediction was Toronto in 7. I said if Montreal beats Toronto, they could go on a run. So
Yep.
It happens, man.
No, I know. And so now hopefully, this would be good for both of us and bad for both of us. If the Panthers end up playing the Leafs in a playoff series, because then we'd have to have some fun with that. We'd have to have some fun with that.
For sure.
And now you're live streaming the games, right? Now, because I do the pregame live streams, but you actually live stream during the games.
Yeah, I do the commentary reactions during a lot of the games. So of course I do a lot of Leaf games because I'm just a Leaf fan, but I covered the whole league, so I do a bunch of different stuff. But yeah, just on the point of I was just gonna say, if anything, like I wish the Panthers weren't in the Atlantic Division with the Leafs, because I actually, if someone asked me like, oh, who's like your other favorite teams? Like I never say that. I just have my one favorite team. But in terms of other teams I would support, Florida is actually definitely one of them, because I've been to probably, I want to say 7 or 8 Panthers games. So
okay, and yeah, if the Panthers and Leafs meet in the first round, then somebody's still not making it past the first round, and that's going to be pleasant for somebody. Yep.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
So.
All right, bud. Well, I really appreciate you doing this. I know we're all fixing to be super, super busy here. Like I said, I don't think anybody's getting a day off until about. It's funny. I was watching about a week after the Cup was done this year. All of us, you, me, Steve Dangle, hockey guy, we all just kind of came on and made our own video where we were like, I'm done. I'm taking a vacation now. Goodbye. It was the same look in all of our eyes. It was just like done.
I was exhausted. I was burnt out. I needed a break.
Yep. It happens, man. It happens. So, all right, bud. Well, thanks for coming, and I appreciate it. And we'll see you again this year, bud. And go Panthers, man. And go Leafs. Go Leafs too.
Hey, I hope both teams are good and it's fun this year, and I want to see a lot of that Battle of Florida. And yeah, thank you so much for having me on. I'm sure we'll be doing a lot for both our channels. So thanks, man.
Okay, bud. Take it easy.
All right, so thanks again, John, for doing that. I really, really appreciate it. For you guys who are not subscribed to Hot Take Hockey, I've left the links in the description to his channel. Highly recommend subscribing, hitting the notification bell. Now, in terms of the last thing we talked about with injuries, Panthers apparently made it through injury-free last night, which was good. We kept all of our starters out, which was good. We've got one more game on Saturday, which is tomorrow. The game starts at 6. The live stream starts at 5 tomorrow. Bring your food, apparently. That's the thing. Now that the live streams are with dinner time, everybody is trolling me with Jeff made himself pork tenderloin yesterday. People ordering pizza and wings and all sorts, and they're just sending me pictures of all the food. And I sit there with my chocolate milk and I take it. I take the abuse because I get pancakes later on at night.